In this short tutorial, we're going to look at how we handle a situation when the number of blocks that were supposed to be sprayed in a day aren't sprayed. It may be that you've had a mechanical breakdown or the wind came up and not all the blocks that we expected to get done were completed. And how do we change the record in here without having to start from scratch? Let's assume in the first instance that the very last block on this list, which is CIF/02, wasn't sprayed at all. All I need to do is double click in that box and I click remove block from the sprayed list and it's totally taken out. And you'll notice if you look down here that we're now down to 5 vats, or just a fraction over 5, when originally we were up to 9 vats. Let's take it a step further and say that only half of this CIF01 block was sprayed. If I double click in there again, I can actually change the percentage of the block sprayed. So let's stick with that. It was approximately half. You don't need to be absolutely exact, but if you can get it as close as possible, we'll put 50% in there. And you'll see that in the instruction sheet over here, the comments box, it has registered the fact that only 50% of that block was sprayed. And I'd suggest you type in there, that was rows 1 through to 22. And then from there, you know that you will be picking up from row 23 next time you go to catch up with the rest of that block. You'll also see back here in the total VAT screen that we're now down to 2.95, almost 3 tanks is what should have been used. Now the next question is, what happens if we didn't actually use 3 tanks worth? What happens if we use 3.5 tanks? The first thing is that we probably need to ask the question why, because half a tank is a lot of chemical and a lot of money, and it will also change the actual quantity in your inventory, because there'll be another half tank's worth of chemicals taken out of inventory that actually are still there. So what we need to do now is, if I go back into select blocks and I click up here, there are 2 options here. We filled in the litres per hectare and we said that we would be spraying this job at 800 litres a hectare. After the event, we actually know that we sprayed 3.5 vats instead of what it predicted at 2.9. So I'm going to put in there 3.5 and I reapply the spray to blocks, and it will recalculate everything based on the fact that we used 3.5 tanks to spray this area. Now the one thing you'll notice is that the litres per hectare, that is our calibrated spray volume rate, has been changed, because what the program is saying is if you covered that amount of territory in your blocks, that area, and you used 3.5 tanks, then you couldn't have been spraying at a volume of 800 litres a hectare. You have actually been spraying at a volume of 949 litres per hectare. So that litres per hectare recalibrates your spray volume. But what you do have now is a correct amount of chemical and water that's being used, so that your inventory is correct. And that's really quite important. And it's up to you to go out and find out why there was a variation. As I said in a previous tutorial, probably 2 reasons. One is that possibly a block setup is incorrect and the area is not right. Or it could be that there's just simply an incorrect setting which is not giving you the calibrated spray rate of 800 litres per hectare. I hope this tutorial was of help to you.